When you're away from camp, have you ever wondered, will my trailer be there when I get back? Well, I'm going to tell you what we just upgraded to try to make sure our trailer's always there in this episode of Travels with Delaney. Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick from Travels with Delaney, and in this week's episode, I want to talk about an upgrade we just recently made to try to deter theft of our teardrop trailer when we're gone or when it's parked here at home. Now, most of us assume that when we drop our campers at a campground or if we're out boondocking, that when we come back, our trailer will be there. But the truth is, trailers have been stolen and they will be stolen, especially in certain parts of the country. Now, in the past, we've used some pretty simple locks, but over the past couple summers when we traveled out west, friends of ours out there had warned us that our locking systems really were not adequate and that it was not uncommon for campers like ours to actually come up missing from campsites while you're gone. Now, that was concerning for us for a couple of reasons. Number one, we paid almost $30,000 for our trailer and we don't want to lose it. And number two, sometimes we leave our beloved puppies, Truman and Bess, in the trailer while we go out to dinner, and we would hate for somebody to not only take our trailer, but more importantly, we wouldn't want something to happen to Truman and Bess. So let's go ahead and start by looking at what we were using and why it just was not adequate for ensuring that our trailer would not come up missing one day. Understand that there's probably no 100% foolproof way, although the technology is getting better and there's ways to definitely increase your level of security, but we want to just talk about what some of those options would be. But I really want to start with what we were using and why it really just doesn't live up to what we wanted. All right, for the last several years, we've been using two locks on the tongue of our trailer. Number one, we've been using a pin lock in lieu of just your standard pin. And the reason I liked the pin locks was the fact that, number one, it was a lock. And so even when we're towing down the road, the pin is locked in position as opposed to just one of those pins that you could quickly remove and take the trailer off the vehicle. But in addition, while we were parked, I was also using one of these locks to go where your ball of your hitch would go. And that way, then, theoretically, they couldn't just hitch on and take your trailer away. And I thought this was like double security, and it was definitely adequate for what we were doing. However, after getting warned by several of my friends that this was just not going to cut it if somebody really wanted our trailer, and the fact when I started doing research online and seeing how poorly designed these locks actually are in terms of how easy it is for somebody to actually remove them, then I decided it was time to upgrade. So I ended up ordering a new lock, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit, that hopefully will create a much greater deterrent from trying to steal our trailer. But let me just tell you real quickly how bad these two locks actually are. Let's start with this one. So when our new lock came 2 days ago, I came out and this one was actually frozen. Water had dripped down in and I couldn't get it off. So I wanted to try out the new lock, and I figured maybe the hammer will loosen the ice so that I can put the key in and unlock it. Still couldn't get it. And I thought, well, you know what? All of these YouTube videos show people actually using pry bars to just pull these off. And I thought, I don't have a pry bar right now, but would my hammer work? And so I merely started doing this, working it back and forth. And just like that, that's how easy somebody could have taken this lock off. All they needed was an actual hammer. Now you're thinking, or I was thinking, well, we have backup protection. But I can tell you, these can easily be taken off with a pair of Harbor Freight bolt cutters. And I know that because we had one of these last summer and the key broke off in it. And I was like, how am I going to get my hitch unlocked so that we can hitch up and leave the KOA that we were staying at? So I went up, and luckily the campground had a pair of Harbor Freight bolt cutters that they let me borrow, and sure enough, I was able to get right on that and snip it off and pull it right out. So ultimately, this is nothing more than trying to keep people honest. If they walk up, they see there's a lock on it, hopefully they'll say, not worth the bother. But if they really wanted your trailer, all you'd have to do is cut these off or pry these off, and guess what? It's all there. So let's go inside where it's a little bit warmer, and I'm going to show you what we bought to hopefully really deter anyone from thinking about taking our trailer. Oh yeah, much warmer in here. I'm actually heating my trailer up today with my Mr. Heater little buddy. If you're not familiar with those, they operate off the little green cylinders, or you can actually hook them up to an actual propane tank. I have a video on that product, and I'm going to go ahead and stick that up above in case you're interested in the Mr. Heater little buddy heater. But anyway, so this is the lock I decided to order for our trailer. Now, this comes from a company that is family owned out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they actually designed the lock out of necessity. When you go to their website, you can read all about the story, but the short of it is they owned a construction company and they had a trailer of materials that they thought were completely secured and locked up. Next morning, they come in, trailer's gone, they lost all of their materials. And it was at that point the owner decided he was going to build a better lock so people couldn't steal his construction materials. And luckily, he continued to develop that lock for RVs, so whether you have a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, a gooseneck, they have a lock that will work for you. Now, these locks are pretty simple, but they're super heavy, and that's because they're made out of steel. And the way it works, it's a really simple device when you think about it. It's a big steel box. It's got this massive hinge on it. They're welded. I'm going to pull this up here so you can hopefully see the size of the welds on this thing. Now, I don't know, maybe if you bring a torch with you, you could cut through it, but if you're going to that extreme, I'm not sure there's anything that I can use that's going to stop you from stealing our trailer. But we basically are going to put this around the lock, and then the other nice thing is we can put our chains in here, so we can actually lock up our chains as well. And then the way it works is you get a puck lock that fits right here on the top, and we lock it up, and then it's going to secure it. Now, in a minute, we will go outside and we'll actually put this on so you can see how it works. Now, the one thing is I was doing research on these was there are different companies out there that sell similar type products. But here's the thing. The steel is the same. The puck lock can really make the difference. So I don't want to say you couldn't pry this off, although the company has videos where they've tried to pry them off and they couldn't get them off, and I don't think you're going to pry it off. The question is, could you pick the puck lock, or could you drill through it to cause the puck lock to fail and open? Now, not all puck locks are created the same, and in fact, when you go to the Fort Knox Lock website, you're going to pick out the lock for your specific trailer. So for instance, we needed a specific lock for the type of hitch that we have, and this particular one is called the Atwood Plus. So, and here's what they recommend on the website is, before you order, give them a call, send them a picture of your trailer hitch so they can make sure they send you the right one that's going to fit perfectly. But then the second step is, after you get the correct box, you get to pick out your puck lock. Now, these range in price anywhere from about $40 up to $90. What I did then was started doing some research on what would be the best puck lock. And what I found through my research on YouTube, and I'm sure there could be discussion on this, but the Abloy stainless steel locks are going to be one of the most difficult locks to pick or break. And so I went ahead and bought that, which they offer. Now, it does have their logo on it, but it is the Abloy lock in stainless steel. And you know what? This is a almost $30,000 trailer, so I figure go ahead and spend the money to protect it. For me, they were running a sale on their website. I was able to get the highest level lock that they had, plus the box, for right around $250. So prices can vary, obviously, if the sales aren't going on or as prices go up, but at least gives you an idea what we spent for our lock. And this is going to make me feel much more comfortable when we're leaving our trailer out camping or boondocking or wherever we're at. Okay, as much as I hate to leave the warmth of the trailer, let's go back outside and let's go ahead and try and install this. All right, let's go ahead and put this on. So all we have to do is open it up. The lock is going to go in the top, and you can see here there's actual slots that's going to hold it right on here. So I'm just going to line those up, set it on there, and all I have to do is put my lock on, and we're done. That's on there solid. It's not going to come off. And even with the crowbar, I've seen their videos, they were not able to get it open. So I really think it would take somebody to come out here with like a torch to actually cut this off. But that's how simple this is. Now, as far as opening it up, we'll just use the key, pull out, and take it apart. Now I'm going to attempt to go ahead and lock my chains up in here as well. Okay, it's off. Now let's try putting it back on with the chains. All right, so what I've found that works, at least for me, is I've draped one chain over this way, one chain over this way, because it's really our hooks that we want to get in there. And then as we put it on, we're going to want to pull back this excess chain. So we're just going to set our lock up there. And I think this would probably be a lot easier if there wasn't snow on the ground and it was about 22 degrees outside. All right, so I've got it on there. Let's go ahead and throw our lock on, engage it, and there we go. You can see the chains are locked in as well as the tongue is all locked up, and hopefully that will deter anyone. So that is how simple it is to put on the Fort Knox lock onto our trailer tongue. Now, I truly believe this is going to be a huge deterrent to someone thinking about stealing our trailer. Not saying it can't be done. There's other ways to do it with like wheel locks and wheel covers, and I get all that. But this is a good start for us. Now, if you're thinking $250 is a lot of money, just remember what you paid for your trailer, and you want to protect your trailer. And the other thing is, I had one of those $50 locks, and you saw what I did to it with just a simple hammer. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Let me know what you're using and how it's working for you. And I'm going to go ahead and link a video in case you're wondering how we hitch up our trailer so that you can see exactly what process I use in hitching this trailer up to get it ready to roll. Until next time, everyone, we'll see you on down the road. Good night.